was just 10 seconds, and this is a lifetime of work. So, you've got to like keep the eyes shut for about a year or two till I get myself there. Having said that, I think that, the part where you said that, you consciously do this, you subconsciously do it, and are you more aware of what you're doing in front of your parents, in front of your children. For us, at the end of the day, I feel, and I could be completely wrong, and I'm extremely to know about raising children, and I only know everything there is to know about raising my children. So there is a big difference between everybody present here on the panel. Having said that, I feel very honored that you're here. Thank you. But I think I don't consciously steer away from anything except high volume, because that is, I don't want to raise my children in an aggressive environment, because I don't want to reflect on them. Having said that, questions about self-love, lack of self-love, how do I look today, getting feedback, all of that happens in front of my children. I don't know how right that is, I don't know how wrong that is. I got into questioning self-love at a point where my life had to be divided amongst more and more people who I loved more than I love myself, that's my children. So the big question about self-love came when I became a mom. But then I also operated at a point where within myself, I was operating at an honor code that I gave myself, which is whether my body has changed, whether my time is not mine, whether, what I expected out of motherhood in the first few months is very different from what life throws back at you, whether I was in postpartum depression, all of the above was questioned by me, but it was also answered back by me with an honor code saying, hey, you signed up for this, and look what you've got. I know that this is also on the outside, people say the same thing to you, but till you don't internalize that feeling, it's never going to change. So I did that, and I feel like when I have this out-of-body experience, seeing my children grow, giggle, and become the people that I want them to be, I really think it's also a part of self-love, that amount of happiness is not quantifiable. So at the end of the day, even that qualifies. Just watching a sunset, looking at my children, sitting in a park, doing nothing, and sometimes not feeling like my most beautiful self is also okay. It's a part of self-love because my insides are happy. So, for me, like I said, I can only speak about myself and my children. But yes, it's a process. I mean, telling yourself that you love your body no matter, it's the same body that has been on beauty pageants, and at the same time I've put on 25 kgs to give birth. But I'm fine with it because it also comes from with time, with confidence, and you've got to wait it out and give it time. I mean, that's where I look at it. And I'm sorry, maybe this wasn't the answer you were expecting, but this is the person I am. Thank you.
Hi everybody, pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for hosting this OFFID school. It's a wonderful question because most of the comparison happens in classrooms. We compare how they write, how they look, how they move, everything is comparable. But I think now schools are moving towards having an emotion chart at the beginning of the day, which talks more about how are you feeling today. And it's very important that teachers are consciously trained in ethical education. And ethical education talks about treating every child as the unique person that they are. There is no need to compare children because you have whatever 25, 30, 40 children in your classroom, that's 40 individuals who are different children. So once schools understand the importance and the impact that comparison has on children's brains and emotions, then I think schools and teachers would consciously stop doing that. Somewhere I think teachers also get influenced by parents because parents tend to compare. When they come for open house, why is that child's drawing better than my child's drawing? And that's very important for teachers to put a stop to that by saying in this school we don't compare, we celebrate, because it's important that we don't label children. And in the words of Dr. Dalbai, it's better to move from labeling to enabling. And that is what will help children. Self-love is a very complex concept. Not everybody understands it. But it's very important that little things when put together, you will reach that concept of self-love.
eventually, right? So the way the parents are scolding or comparing or encouraging, the child speaks to herself the same way. Yeah? And the moment, we all know that, the moment I'm compared with anybody else with whatever good intention, the first message that I carry is, I am not good enough. Yeah? And this becomes the core belief which projects the lack of self-love. So the people who are lacking in self-love, they carry this belief, I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not efficient enough, I'm not capable enough, because they have been compared with somebody else or the other. On the other side, the parents hold the power to change this inner self-talk of the child. So one comparison is a big no, no matter what good intention the parents hold. It can be done in a different way, in the form of encouragement, in the form of appreciation to whatever effort the child is making. So instead of comparing the child with somebody else, we can help the child put on a lens where he looks back and looks at the progress that he has been making over the years or over the time. Yeah. So that's how it is.
Firstly, very good afternoon to everybody here. When you say about child's growth and child's mindset, definitely entertainment plays a very, very vital role. Children do have a lot of influence over all of these entertainment ideologies. There is everything which is acceptable, everything which is accessible. Hence, it becomes easier for a person to just get influenced with a snap and say, okay, I'm going to now, act like her. I'm going to now eat like her. I need to have certain mannerisms which are going to be influenced like ABC person. It becomes very difficult for us to entirely change or mold that person's or the child's thought processes, because there are so many children who come up to us, they ask a lot of questions related to this. No doubt that not many of them are on a wrong way, but yes, they need to be guided. They need to be put a particular full stop where they need to stop thinking. I always mention that the boundaries are extremely important. The boundaries have a very, very important role. Whether it is a parent, or me being a parent of a 5-year-old, or anybody being a parent of a 15-year-old, that line differs. Everything has a particular, I should say, a validity to it. That's where I feel, yes, it is important. Entertainment does play an important role, but it has to be in moderation. It can't just go just along with the flow.
So there are pros and cons to this as well.
Definitely.
Would you like to shed some light?
Yeah, no, I'm just on a completely different note when we talk about boundaries. And this is a conversation that I've had many times in the past, and I've said this in interviews and of course speaking to experts, and this is out of my own life experience. I remember, let's just jog back 4.5 years. My firstborn is a daughter, and for me, the most important word that I had to ever teach my daughter was bus. That is the most important word, because she needs to understand what's good for her if someone's crossing the line. And it started literally with 2 extra spoons of rice, when she was just like, bus. And she would say, Mama, and then she would say, bus, Mama, bus, I'm done. And today at 4.5, she knows what's right for her, what's wrong for her, how much part time she wants, how many minutes of television she wants to give herself, because she knows that she's the one who's going to control the reins of her life, define what's right, define her boundaries, and she knows when and who to say bus to. And I feel like it's going to go a long way in her life. So I think that for me, a very large part of, I also come from a business where you're defined by the way you look. I've been working in this business where the mindset has changed multiple number of times, with it being the most unorthodox right now. But I started working in my first ever job in front of the camera was 1998 December. So you can do the math if you're good at it. I have. And the thing is that I also feel that I still remember, when you used to have, I don't know if any of you had those phones, but when your phone would come on, it would give you a message. You could feed a message. It wasn't one of the smartphones. And I would always I asked my parents, I'm like, what should I write over here? Because they got me my first phone when I was, I think, 18. And I remember my dad said, you should write chin up. And he's a forging man. He's like, no matter what, always have your chin up. and there's nothing wrong with it. And because you are who you are, you come with your own magic, and you know, I feel like the first for me, I really wasn't raised in a house where I would go out and be bold enough to say that, hey, I'm good looking or I'm smart. But I was definitely raised in a house to believe that if you have your head between your shoulders and if you're brave enough, you can go out there and do anything you want. And you know, whether it's fighting a battle, whether it's saving a nation, or whether it's, you know, wearing the sash of your nation and you know, walking down the stage. So I feel like my self-love journey has been, has had a lot of ups and downs, and I'm in a profession that on a daily basis, it keeps me under check, but at the same time, the world and the business that we're in has become so inclusive right now that it makes me more and more comfortable to raise my children in this environment. Of course, I'm not looking forward to the preteens and teens at all, but at 4.5, my son's 1.5 and my daughter's 4.5, and I feel like there's just lots of self-love, and I'm very proud of what we have, you know, crawling around the house. I'm in a good place right now. The audience wants to see what on screen what they see around them, and I really think that, you know, Indian cinema has changed in such a big way, and I'm so glad that it's steering away from. Of course, that also provides entertainment, the hero head, heroine head, and everybody else is padding their love story. That's, you know, that's okay. We're allowed to live that dream. Nobody should take that away from us. But having said that, now when you see so many different shows on different platforms, you know that everyone's there for a reason, like in life, and everybody's excelling or is flawed, but they're trying to do their best. It depends on which narrative. So yes, over time, and I don't know how long you've been watching movies for, but I've been a part of the movies for almost 18 years now, and I've seen how the narrative on paper, in scripts, on celluloid, in OTT, everywhere has changed. And you're like, you know, the look of your you know, protagonist, your antagonist, everybody else is, you know, we are us, and that's what cinema has become now. So I really think it's changed for better.
Thank you. I think we have time only for one. When Meher and Gul, I'm so sorry.
No worries, so I get that a lot. I love his name, but people have to get used to it.
So they showed you some signs of self-doubt. So how did you deal with that?
I mean, if I have 2 minutes to tell you a really interesting story, I'm happy to do that. My son is 17 months old, so I have very few stories about him with self-doubt. When you put on like Diljit Dosanjh and he dances to it, and then if you put on Skidamara, he dances to that also. And that's it, like, you know, he has his own little world that he's created. My daughter was 4.5, and I was, this is a learning of self-doubt, which I had from her actually. She started going to school, and she started going to what we call a big school, and she goes to a school where there's no school uniform. And, you know, every day, and then this was also a phase where she understood birthday parties, and every day she would dress in those big dresses and for parties, and then she realized that she has those big dresses, she doesn't need to wear uniform, and she just started dressing in character every day. So then from Meher, she changed her name to Meher Elsa Sophia Ariel Julia Baby. So her real name is Meher Julia Baby, but she became this person. And one day she would dress like a unicorn, and the next day like a mermaid, and she would do it all herself. And you know, some days extremely inspiring, and some days extremely, for a different word, creative. But, and then at the end of the day, her school would finish at 3 o'clock, and she would go on this thing called a red climber, where she had to climb the top of a rope. And she would love going and sitting right on top. Now the problem was that she would wear these really large dresses. I let this go on. The first day I may have fought it a little bit. I was like, no man, everybody goes in tights and t-shirts to school and you need to go like that. But then she was just like, I don't want to be like everybody. I mean, today I'd like to use that. I want to be one of a kind. I want to go in my big dresses. So I looked at her and I was like, I'm out this person who's okay to stand out in a crowd at 3.5. Every day, I think it went on from, say, first week of October till little before Christmas, every day she would dress a character, go to school, come back, until finally one day a big dress and she got stuck on top of that red climber. And that's when she realized that she's just going to go back to wearing those tights and t-shirts because she wants to be comfortable. But nobody took the wind beneath her wings, where nobody clipped her wings and said, hey, you cannot dress in character. Everybody in our house is like, yes, you are one of a kind. Yes, you're going to be what you want to be. If one day you wake up and you think you're a unicorn, you're going to be that unicorn. And the next day you think you're a mermaid, you're going to swim deep into those oceans. You're on your own and we're watching you outside. And that girl taught me a life lesson. So many times before going out on the red carpet, I was like, what does this person think? ये क्या बोलेगा? वो क्या लिखेगा मेरे बारे में? And that's when I realized, if I can learn from this girl who's 3.5, who's my own, who's my daughter, who teaches me and doesn't care because that's what makes her happy and that's what makes her an individual, why can't I do it? And that was my biggest life lesson from my own daughter. I mean, it makes me very emotional right now, but she, instead of me trying to change her, she changed me and made me more confident. So much
from जहाँ आपने बात
सेल्फ लव
या और जैसे आप देख रहे हैं कि आज हमने जो बात की है सेल्फ लव की और ये जो निकलोडियन का जो इनिशिएटिव है विच इज़ वन ऑफ अ काइंड यू नो बहुत ज़रूरी होता है अपने बच्चों को शुरुआत से बताना दैट दे ऑल आर वन ऑफ अ काइंड उनकी हर एक बच्चे की एक अलग पर्सनालिटी होती है इट्स ओके टू लेट देम लिव आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स और आजकल जो बात करते हैं और देखते हैं हम बहुत ज़्यादा जो बच्चों पे प्रेशर डाला जाता है टू टेक अवे फ्रॉम दैम आई थिंक निकलोडियन का ये जो आज एफर्ट है to have these conversations out in public, start through schools, send it out via the press and the media. It's a very important conversation that needs to be had.
यहाँ पे हमने ढेरों सारी कन्वर्सेशन भी आपने किया ढेरों सारी आपकी बातें भी तो कैसा रहा ओवरऑल एक्सपीरियंस या फिर स्कूल में आकर एंड यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट
आई थिंक मैं स्कूल काफ़ी जाती हूँ तो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस जब मैं स्कूल में जाती हूँ मुझे ऐसे लगता है या मैं पिकअप या ड्रॉप के लिए जा रही हूँ बट स्कूल से तो बहुत आना जाना है बट टुडे आई कम टू ऑकिड्स इंटरनेशनल ये अलग किस्म का स्कूल है द काइंड ऑफ स्कूल दैट माय डॉटर गोज टू इज़ कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट और जैसे मैंने कहा मायने क्या रखता है कि बच्चे स्कूल जाए किस तरह के स्कूल जाए वो अपने उनके पेरेंट्स पे डिपेंड करता है एंड येस बहुत सारे एक्सपर्ट्स थे बहुत सारी कॉन्वर्सेशंस थी एंड आई एम होपिंग कि आज जो है ऑडियंस ने सुना है और ये अपनी लाइफ में इनकॉर्पोरेट करेंगे हम जितनी भी सेल्फ लव की बातें कर लें जब तक आप अपनी लाइफ में अपनी निजी ज़िंदगी में इनको इनकॉर्पोरेट नहीं करेंगे तो किसी चीज़ का फ़ायदा नहीं होता है
एक बच्चों को क्या मैसेज रहेगा मैम आपकी तरफ से जो प्रेशराइज करते हैं बच्चों को कम्पीट करने के लिए
आई थिंक जैसे मैम ने भी आज डॉक्टर ने भी कहा दैट मोर देन हेलीकॉप्टर पेरेंटिंग लेट्स डू सबमरीन पेरेंटिंग लेट्स वॉच केयरफुली व्हाट दे आर डूइंग बट एट द सेम टाइम डोंट पुट देम अंडर प्रेशर कितना कुछ सुनने को आता है पोस्ट कोविड देयर बीन सो मेनी मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज अबाउट चिल्ड्रन ऑल्सो और हर एक बच्चे को हमको कंपैरिजन से दूर रखना प्रेशर से दूर रखना उनकी एबिलिटी क्वेश्चन करना इन सब चीज़ों से या फिर एक बॉक्स के अंदर डाल के कहना कि नहीं तुमको ऐसा ही बनना है बिकॉज दे हैव टू लिव योर ड्रीम इन सब चीज़ों से दूर रखना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है बिकॉज at the end of the day you want a healthy child and the most important thing for a healthy child is a healthy mind and parents होने के ज़रिए या parents होने के नाते ये अपने आप को रोज़ बताना बहुत ज़रूरी है बिकॉज इट्स वॉट यू टीच योर चाइल्ड इज़ वॉट योर चाइल्ड इज़ गोइंग टू पिक अप एंड बिकम दैट सो इट्स द reins are entirely in your hand and I mean I definitely think that children should not be put under any pressure whatsoever.
Thank you.